All right, we are recording. Welcome to the Patterns Beyond Lo-Fi Volume 2 podcast. I'm Mackenzie. This
I'm
is,
Matthew.
thank you. And we're going to be checking out some music curated by Emmanuel today from the internet. So I'm excited. I know you have a song in there. I know there's a Lisa track in there. I'm
Yeah,
really excited about all of these jams. I really enjoyed the last one too, honestly.
yeah,
Like
it was really nice.
Yeah, and inspiring. There were a lot of moments in it that really did inspire me, and I found that I was inspired in my creating when I did from the songs in the last one.
Yeah.
So cool. First up here, we've got Winston, Wynstn, and the track is called The Dream. Now, real quick, I'm just going to go ahead and share my audio. I think I can do that here. Computer sound only, nice. Cool, so you should be able to hear my music when I hit play here, but we'll see here. Can you hear that?
Yep, perfect.
Cool, I'm gonna turn it down a little bit.
I just be having spurts now, like sometimes.
All right, and I'm actually just gonna restart this too, just so that we, All right, so this is Dream by Winston. So here we go.
I just be having spurts now, like sometimes I might go like 2, 3 weeks, like maybe a month without making a beat, but then when I do, it's like, that's that one, 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 that's that one.
Stop it. Damn. This is too much. It's so good.
This is great.
Oh. Damn.
Wow, that's the way to start it.
Whoa, yeah, Emmanuel, when you watch this, dude, start the show off hot. Ooh.
That was
Wow.
great.
That was amazing, man, on so many levels. Like, it starts off, you have no idea what to expect. Like, as soon as I hit play, I was like, oh, it's kind of like noisy. It's kind of like, I don't know, a little chaotic. But the way that it tells a story and transforms into this just like pure, just like sexy banger.
Yeah, and like I love that, man. The minimalism and the parts that were accentuated, it just gave it like this life of its own for me.
Yeah, yeah. There were a lot of moments in there, like it was textured. It had that essence of like, we were moving. You can't help but move, and in the tracks that like we're working on now for the that beat tape, the foundation of what I'm trying to do with those tracks is create this like thing that you can't help but move to, and then just when you think it's like great, dropping out, and then sexy lead line. And that sax line that came in there in this track,
Oh yeah.
as soon as it happened, I could not hold myself being like, stop, like, this is too much. It's just like one thing after another, man. Well,
Yeah.
well curated, Winston. I'm sure we're gonna
Yes.
say hey to you at some point and be like props for that one, or hopefully you watch this and hear the props for that one.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah. I don't know about you, man, but this is my first time listening to this playlist. Like all these tracks, I know a couple of them. Like I know the Lisa track, but and I know your track, but it's nice to get the first impression, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Word. So next up, familiar track to me. I'm not sure if you've heard this one yet. Have you heard With Pleasure by Lisa?
No, I have not.
No, I'm really excited about this one. So this is someone that's part of the collective, Lisa, lo-fi producer, cutting edge stuff. I'm loving it. It's good stuff. So Lisa, With Pleasure. With Pleasure.
That was so great. Like,
Yeah, I'm a big
I
fan
didn't
of that
know.
one.
I didn't know where that was going. It was just
That drop, man, kills me every time.
yes.
Oh,
Okay, where do I start? I feel like for me, the kick drum coming in like is just a little off the grid right there, and like when the bass complemented that, and then it just came in with the hi-hats, like it just, you felt the soul of
yeah,
Lisa.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude, yeah. I love that it starts off, I love this idea that a song can start off so closed and filtered and you feel like, I love that this track has this feeling of like it's a lo-fi track. You go in, you're like, oh yeah, it's lo-fi hip hop. It's like kind of muffled. It's kind of shitty. There's this like, it's really in a box, but then you hear the boop, 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 and it's just this like very subtle like hook that like is kind of, and then you hear that little lead line. You're like, oh, okay, there's like some sort of sexy lead line happening, and then it just goes do 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 do, and it just
yep,
opens up and you're just like, no, 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 that was a conscious decision. I didn't deliberately leave everything in a box. I did that so that by the time you got here it was like wake up, and you can
yes,
feel that in the track. You can feel that that's what she's trying to say, you know
I love it. With Pleasure by Lisa.
yeah, so
Thank you.
I do know that Lisa has an album coming out July 10th. So Lisa album's coming out July 10th. I believe it's self-titled. Good stuff coming. Keep your ear to the ground. Go follow Lisa. Go follow Winston.
I will be buying.
Word, word. All right. Next up here, we've got Avant R, AVANT-R, and the song is called Campfire. I don't know if it's Avant R, or I live in a French speaking city, and avant is before in French, so it's like I can't help but read Avant R
Yeah.
or Avant R maybe.
Yep.
But it's gonna be a banger. Emmanuel curates well with these people who make bangers, and I'm ready.
You? You're not an American or a European or anything. I drink to our long friendship.
Thanks, honey. Sounds like he has money.
Mr. Moneybags himself. As if you didn't know.
No, I didn't, but thanks just the same.
I drink to our long friendship.
Thanks, honey. Now you better go sing your little song. I've got something to attend to.
Susan, that's what you're going to attend to.
Honey, you're a mind reader.
That's cool,
There's
girl.
nothing wrong with getting an education.
Love that. It's
Yeah. Gives me Gorillaz vibes.
yeah.
Yep, it's opening. This is the perfect beat to like rap to.
That's all I've been thinking this whole time is how much I'd love to hear someone like freestyle on this one.
I'm coming and chilling with my man Mackenzie. Listening to Diddy by Avant R. Check it, we are
Yeah.
connected internationally. We stay with the sound, the patterns be
You're not an
lyrically
American or
I
a European or anything. You're
Yeah.
don't
very low.
classify myself.
I drink to our long friendship.
This is great.
Dude, yeah.
Go sing your little song.
Yo.
I've got something to attend to.
We should have like
That's what you're
a
going to
this,
attend
but
to.
we
You're a mind
freestyle
reader.
on stuff. Like I do
That's
freestyle a
Nothing wrong with
little
getting
bit,
an education.
not
Yeah.
that much, but I could maneuver it at times, and that could be sick to talk over the end of that track entirely. But whatever.
No, it's great. Like that track is made specifically for an artist in mind to just have free reign to paint it. It's like
Yeah.
beautiful canvas to add. Like great job, Avant R.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. I love the way that the kick sits in the mix specifically. I feel like the kick, it has like a more of a mid to mid high like punch, and it's nice, you know. It's like I find more often than not people go for either like in your face hit or muffled, and with lo-fi like a lot of the time it's muffled. But this one very specifically occupies a spot in the mix that you don't hear often, and it's also like I maybe would have done a bit of side chaining in this if I was the one producing it, but it's nice to hear it breathe without any side chain, like it's a real drummer playing on a kit with someone, you know, or with someone doing a loop on a, you know, an SP404 or something, you know.
That's lovely. Yeah.
Very
Perfect
lovely.
analogy.
So that was Campfire by Avant R, Avant R, I don't know. Reach out to us and let us know. You know,
Yeah.
say hey, and you know, we're always down to collaborate. To everyone that is watching this or going to be watching it, reach out to us. We're just musicians making music, and we love to do it, and we love to collaborate. So hit us up.
Definitely.
All right, we've got humberto.eme, or it's humaberto.eme, and the song's called Unst, UNST. So that's HUMEBERTO.EME, and the track is called Unst, UNST. I'm saying this out loud because if you want to find it and you can't see it, like if I was to say this out loud, you would never find it. So, all right, let's peep it.
Where's my office? I totally lost it. Cause I was half baked, smoking doobies. Doobie Brothers, I was smoking doobies with my brothers. Peace out. See you cross, see you cross.
Wow, this is nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's old school in a completely different way.
Yeah. Mm.
I am ridiculously anti-drug. I am so anti-drug that I am above suspicion in any way that involves suspicion or testing of any kind, of any kind, of any kind.
What a great sample to end it with.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So, what would you say first?
Um, I liked it. I like the. First of all, I love the vibe. It comes in really hot on that vibe. This like almost like swing, like jazzy. It feels like it's like an old jazz song from like the 50s or like the 40s, but like really, really sexy. And then just like this really dope bass line. Like the bass line in there was just everything for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
the bass carried the track in my opinion. And then that like, like key line.
Yeah.
It was good. And texturally, I liked the way that there's certain moments after a certain amount of bar repeats that you almost predict like, oh, okay, well they're probably going to do something here, whether they pull something out or they add a filter or something. And I feel like every time I anticipated something, it's like it was what I anticipated was the change that was made, but in a way that's like nice. So it was kind of like, oh, it'd be nice if it did this. Oh, okay, he did do that, or she did do that.
Yeah.
They did do that. So
Right. I appreciated the the switch in snare selections during the song. Like it gave it a completely different feel. I like how it just kind of felt like a Robert Glasper set or something, where
mhm.
the drummers like they're playing on the first snare and then they go and play the smaller snare at a specific part of the song. And I just kind of like the rhythm was really just driving the whole time, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I find in music in general, at least for myself, what pulls me in the most is when something's dynamic.
Mm.
Like it's easier to load one drum kit's worth of samples in and to write a drum pattern. Like when I first started producing drums, I would write maybe two patterns on one drum kit and do no velocity mapping and no like all quantized hard to the grid, and it was just so dry and so static. But like breaking free from that and not being restricted to it's not a real drum kit. you know it's
Mm-hmm.
it's its own, you have infinite possibilities to explore any dimension with it. And uh,
Yeah,
it's nice to see people breaking out of like being restricted. You go to another snare, you
yeah,
run your drums through a certain filter. You evolve it in that dimension that you couldn't do it in a band. You couldn't.
yeah,
You could have two snares, but you can't have two drummers, or you can't have like. So it's cool.
yeah. Good track.
Good track. Next up, we've got. Oh, I love everything about what's going on. I need to see the art for this. Yeah, this is exactly what I hoped it would be. Tattletale, Tatl space Tael is the artist, and the song is called Tanuki.
Hmm.
Likely a Mario reference, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know what Tanuki is outside of Mario, but
I think it's like a Japanese fox or something.
oh yeah,
Japanese
yeah,
for fox.
yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Word. Okay, so Tanuki. Let's check it. That was amazing.
I felt like for a split second I was in the ice cavern on The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Man, it's so funny you say that. Video games is exactly where I was that whole time, and I was trying to find how to verbalize it. Like what about it was this video game feel. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like
yeah.
there's just the right tasteful synth, just like dropped in like a couple little things like in the background, and it's just that little tiny textural dimension that takes you to this other world. Because it would otherwise just be guitars and like a smooth jazz song, which would have been a banger, but
Mm-hmm.
they took it that extra step. It's yeah. I mean I think one of my biggest like inspirations when I produce, well, one of the big influences that exists in my core, and you'll see on the next album I have, like you'll see a lot of video game influence in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this merging between like lo-fi and video games through the means of like a lot of video games, the visual aesthetic of the video game itself, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and the the nostalgia that you feel when you hear those sounds, bringing that
Mm-hmm.
nostalgia into the world of lo-fi. it's lo-fi is something that you're listening to. I mean, lo-fi is something that a lot of people listen to when they're doing something really casual. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And when you're listening to something casual that's smooth and it just like carries you through and you get to like float on this cloud while you do whatever you want from one thing to the next.
Yeah.
It's nice to have those little things that like speak to you
Yeah.
as a listener, you know, like you know, I often hear, you know, like Navi from The Legend of Zelda,
Yeah.
you know, and it's an overused sample for sure. But you know, if you're just chilling, you know, considering that a large portion of the audience that listens to this stuff is just people chilling, right? Like people that maybe don't do music and that just are doing something.
Yeah.
To hear that thing when you're doing your whatever it is that you're doing is almost like, I mean, I see it almost as like a very subtle reassurance about what you're doing. You know, it's this nostalgia that gets to hit you in a spot that like, I don't know, it makes it more relatable. You know, you're listening to
Yeah.
this really cool, smooth thing that's like groovy and chill, and like it sometimes has really sexy lead lines, and like it's just like so good and like punchy and like on the ball. And then you just hear that one sound that's like, "Hey, I see you there," you know, and that's Navi being like, "Hey, listen," and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, you're like, "Oh yeah," and then the drop is extra hard because there's just this like reinforced nostalgia in it. You know, it's
I think you said it best before. It's like taking you to a place where you've been, but you wouldn't know that you've been there unless this moment reminded you of it.
yeah,
And like with the textbooks, just like I don't know, it's inspiring me to I don't know, take a game that we all played. Like I'm an Ocarina of Time. Like that's my heart. I replayed that game in my 20s just
dude,
because I never finished it. And I was like, I have to beat Ganondorf. So
nice, nice.
I'm definitely down for like doing a whole patterns like remix. If anybody has any like contributions, we would be open to collab with you. Like we're down for this Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remix lo-fi album.
Dude, go on YouTube when you get a chance and just look up Legend of Zelda Lo-Fi Mix and find a mix. There are mixes on there that are like 40 minutes, an hour, and it's all just beats made with Legend of Zelda sounds and like vibes.
That's true.
Actually, there's in the first Beyond Lo-Fi podcast, I talked about hold on, I'm just looking up an artist here. I talked about this artist, Sweet Valley, and this song called Bros Beyond. Um, and that album, which was called Eternal Champ, and I'm just loading it up here. So the song just before Bros Beyond. So I'm just going to play a little snippet of Bros Beyond. You're going to immediately hear the Zelda sample. Okay, right.
Oh wow.
Now, the song just before this one, so that was the song I talked about in the last playlist, but actually the
Mhm.
song before this one, I know it's going to hit
Just
you right
play
in the
it.
nostalgia.
Just play it. Oh, I see the waterfall. Wait, wait, wait. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know, dude.
I never thought I would hear anything like this. Like,
Isn't it, dude?
This is just too good.
I'm gonna let this play through to the next song, just so you hear the transition into the vibe. Like, and if you haven't heard the next song, I might just play it through. Honestly,
I feel like I came across this genre source before. I just let me play. This is like a trap, like non-genre based Zelda album.
those I call those. All right, I'm gonna stop the track for a sec. I call those drops that you just heard. That I call those zero drops, in that like you do everything in that exact spot. All the volume automation, all everything is dropped down to zero, and then there's just one thing occurring or nothing occurring. You know what I mean? And that technique of going to zero, to absolute zero, this song is where I was like, this song, dude, and these two songs are like absolutely hands down two of the songs that had the biggest influence on my perspective as a producer today.
Mm.
Like I'd say arguably like 40% of decisions I make when I produce stem from like inspiration I felt from this artist in particular. You know what I
They're
mean?
just showing off, man. Like they're just completely showing off.
Dude.
This is like who's the guy who plays Animals as Leaders? Like
Tosin
Tobin,
Abasi?
yeah, Tosin Abasi. Like he's just
Dude.
like, oh man, you're
Just
great. Okay, just do your own thing.
yeah. Word, man, word.
That was good though. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man. So that's twice now that Sweet Valley has made their way into this playlist. So Sweet Valley, if you ever check these podcasts out, good on you. You've you've made your way in here twice now. All right,
voluntarily, no less.
dude. I mean, the music speaks for itself. If there's anything I know that's beyond lo-fi, it's that album. Honestly, it's really that. So next up, we've got you, and the song is Grape. So this is Matthew. Is it pronounced Jameson or Jamison? I never asked you.
It's Matthew Jameson, just
Jameson.
like the liquor.
Cool, nice. So we've got Matthew Jameson here, and this is Grape from his new EP, Sorbet. Sorbet, right?
Yep.
Cool, right on. All right. Dude, what the hell? It's man, the drums in this track, like, what are you using for your drum sounds? Where do those, are you just sampling and just like programming ridiculous crazy drums?
Yeah, like actually I just got a sound pack from Splice actually, and I chop up the drums and I have a core, like I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 that I choose from. Then I have like some fills and I slice those individually, pitch them, try to make them sound as close to the drums that I'm using as possible.
Amazing.
And, I mean, I'm a drummer first, bass player second, but I do bass more often now.
It really like, I wasn't super aware of, how much you played drums until I heard that track. And I heard that track and I was like, oh shit, you play drums? Like,
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah, it really goes to show like, yeah, like amazing. I love that that's, something that you bring to the track is because I could totally replicate that, but my instincts when I produce drums come from I played guitar and bass and other things before that. Drums came last for me pretty much, so it's something I learned like way later in my musical involvement. And I there's certain things like in that I don't know, it just hit the spot. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, thank you.
Also,
I'm not
just
gonna
like,
say much.
yeah, it's buttery smooth too is how I want to put it. Like I was looking at the image of the sorbet while I was listening to it, and all I could think was just like, man, like I feel like it's a, like I can almost feel the texture of the like creamy sorbet like on a hot summer day while listening to that track.
So, fun fact about the entire EP Sorbet. The name of the EP came after the name for the tracks. The name for the tracks were actually named by my 11-year-old daughter. So I
Oh,
asked
that's
her to
amazing.
tell me what fruit does she think like when she hears these songs. And here we have Sorbet.
That's fantastic. I love that. Yeah, it's the imagery and the sound complement each other very well, and the names too.
Thank you. I'm terrible at those. That's why I outsourced it. It would have been 82 BPM if it was up to me.
Yeah. Or like Emmanuel, he'll put like MM 135.
Right.
Just like MM a number, and it's like every time he sends a track, it's just like MM 081, MM 136. Like
I relate.
Yeah. For me, I always give it some bogus name, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's like Living Room Beat 11, or like like that one's cute line, or like there's one, it's like cute bouncy one. I was like, how do I describe this so that I remember what it is?
Right, that's it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Stolgan, Stollgan, and the song is called "Gone Fishing." I really just want to rip a guitar solo right now, like
There it is.
really hard. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is calling for like some sort of sassy lead line on the keys or guitar or something,
Oh yeah.
Yes!
This is a fun track, man.
Yeah. reminds me a lot of one of my tracks from a couple of years ago. It's the track that has the closest vibe to that one that I've ever heard. Yeah.
I can see myself on Venice Beach buying tacos.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That was sick.
I loved it.
Really good spirit in that track.
I feel Gerudo Valley,
Yeah.
Feel Good Inc., and Hey Ya by Outkast.
There's always been a string drawing those three items together. If you think about it, there's you could draw a Venn diagram of those three tracks and how they overlap, but this song is like it encapsulates all three. Like
Patterns.
patterns, man. It's all patterns. Jeez. Yeah, that was really cool. Honestly, immediately it reminded me of this track I made a year and a half ago, and I was really stoked about that track. I felt like it was like this, like its own thing, and I haven't heard a track similar to it. But that track really, really like sonically and vibe wise feels a lot like this other track.
Nice.
If you wouldn't mind, I hate to keep throwing tracks into this thing that are outside of the playlist.
Go for it, man.
Do you mind? Word, cool. So this track's called "Consciously Coexisting."
Nice chord choice.
Thank you. I actually do have lyrics for this whole song. I just haven't recorded and produced the vocal version of it yet, but
Bro, I'll put bass on it if you put the vocals on it.
cool. Yeah, I'm down actually. I'm gonna actually sing the next line to you, but only because it's one of my favorite lines.
Go for it, bro.
Hey, good morning. How was your rest? What a blessing to exist, to walk the earth another day. A golden smile upon your face. That feels nice, stretching out the sunlight. Wish I could photosynthesize. Just kick back and close my eyes. Take it into my skin, feel it up, warmth within. Hands are locked behind my head. Sleepy, pass it out again.
That's dope. That's dope.
Hey, thanks, man. Anyway,
Yeah, you were talented with the pen too. Okay.
hey, I dabble in all the little things.
Just the right amount of groove, and yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, so what reminded me of that other track was really the guitar vibe, the sample vibe, and then this change back and forth between the filtered version and the unfiltered version. You know, because I do have 2 drum kits in this particular track too, like 2 different kicks, 2 different snares that I use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, for real though, like I at some point outside of this playlist, because I could go forever, this album that I did this one album when I was in Jordan, like a year and a half ago. I was there with my girlfriend and her family, and man, some of these tracks on here, like I need to share them with you. We need to listen to them, or I'll send you the EP or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow, nice and
Good
sweaty.
vibes.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Zoe. My daughter just brought me a fruit snack.
Oh, that's very kind. Next up, we've got another cursedairv.jpg track. So cursedairv.jpg was in the last playlist. Can't remember the name of the track. Here, hold on 1 sec. Just gonna double check it here. It was where are you? Rich Boys. Oh yeah, that was a sick track. I'm really excited to hear this. This one's called Windows. So let's. Oh, and Joey Maker is also in this track.
Nice.
Down my windows, it's raining. Down my windows, it's raining. Down my windows, it's raining. Down my window, down my windows, it's raining. 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 Down my windows. What for? What now? I'll forget you somehow. Too late, too slow. Never like to let go. Disappointed, I'm pointing with all my fingers. It's so poignant, destroyed it, but still it lingers. Down my windows, gently the fall of bitter matter. Down my windows, pretending as if you didn't matter. Down my windows, the wind isn't changing, it's fading. Down my windows, till all that remains is the staining. Down my windows, it's raining. 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 Down my windows. Who knows? Who cares? I don't see what's out there. We could, we might. There won't be a next time. Time to cut my losses. The cost is forgotten. Comes out in the wash and the faucet's still running. And now my home is my cage. I spill my soul on this page, taking its toll on me slowly. I won't let you control me at the end of the day. Though I'm afraid of the change, I go outside, look to the sky, and smile away for the rain. Down my windows, it's raining. 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 Down my windows. Down my windows, it's raining. Down my windows, it's raining. Down my windows.
That
Tasteful ending
is,
choice.
yeah, yeah. I felt that, man.
Yeah, that was really cool. What I liked about the other cursed.jpg track was the use of vocals over a lo-fi beat.
Hmm.
It was that track and the Madison Shipman by Lacani that Emmanuel and I, like we're talking about, you know, because it's another way of describing beat going beyond lo-fi. Lo-fi hip hop in
Yeah.
its origin does not have people writing original vocals over it, writing vocal hooks over it.
Yeah.
Initially it was sampled primarily, right? And it's nice because the beat was very lo-fi. I felt like there was something in the mix of the voice that was like it didn't sit quite just right. Like I don't know, maybe like a little bit in the low mid range needed to be pulled off on the voice just a little bit more to make it
I know
like,
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, there was just, it was slightly too present, or like not too present, but like I don't know. Because of the intention of the texturizing it to be like lo-fi in with the beat, I feel like the beat would have popped a little bit more if a bit more of the lows were rolled off on the voice.
Yeah, it would have let it breathe a little bit more. I think you're speaking about specifically maybe the first verse would come in and the second verse would come in with a little bit extra lows. If those other lows were taken off, because it was like texture, it was like two vocal samples of him singing. One was like the filtered, and one was just like the with the lows present. But yeah, I feel what you're saying is that I felt it. I was like, oh man, like okay, I hear this.
Yeah, and it goes without saying that the the music itself is fantastic.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
really love the hook, and I love the delivery and everything, and I love the intention of everything going on here. But yeah, it's really just how the voice sits in the mix. It makes it so that there's this 1 degree of separation from its, for me, from its fullest potential.
yeah. I can hear
So
that track on like Korean drama, like anime, just like something that's being played in the car or something. Like
dude,
it's a
totally.
really great track.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very emotional. It really
Mhm.
this image really captures it well, actually. The image is like this person on a roller coaster with their head down or something, like, I think. But anyway, yeah, hits the spot.
The Frere Jacques melody. Dun, 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 dun.
Was that in there? I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
identify it as that, but
it was how are you today, sir? Very well, I thank you. Run away.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
faintly in there. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I don't know if you ever saw this, but I watched this video. It was Guthrie Govan. Are you familiar with Guthrie Govan? Or
No, I haven't heard of.
he's a guitarist,
Mhm.
wicked, wicked guitarist. And he talked about, there was a video where he was talking about cliches and using cliches in music,
Yeah.
and how, like, because there are so many things. Even now when I write, hooks, I'm just like, man, I can feel how I'm ripping off a million other songs just in the fact that these are like, some lines are cliche, but it's
Yeah.
about how you deliver the cliche and what the intention is and what the setting is,
Yeah.
that does it. So it's like, it might be Forever Jacques, but it's like also this completely unique thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, good track.
Yep.
Next up, we've got Runic Forms with a Z, RUNICFORMZ, and we've got the song is called Voices. So let's peep it.
Well, where is everybody?
It's all in your mind.
Nice.
Yeah, that was sick.
It gave me Pharrell vibes.
Who vibes?
The Neptunes, Pharrell.
Uh, Not familiar.
Oh, well, he. If you're familiar with Jay-Z, um, Pharrell is the guy who made the Happy song.
Oh, Pharrell Williams.
Pharrell Williams, yeah.
Word. Okay, yeah, totally familiar with Pharrell. Interesting. I didn't necessarily get those vibes from it. But not for any specific reason. My mind didn't link it to that. But interesting. I really love that almost like a bit reduction, like almost like tape or Velcro sounding sample, like whatever that
Yeah.
automation is that's going on in the track. That's just like,
Yeah.
it's like the worst part of a vinyl crackle, just like going, just like inching it and being like, it's
Like Lord
it's
Voldemort
yeah,
trying to creep out of the Horcrux.
yeah, exactly. It could have been cool to play on the sound and have it evolve and grow, in general, like in concept. But it was really cool. It's I like, Emmanuel's always talking as well about creating tension and resolve, and music is really tension and resolve, and it's nice to express tension through sound and not through the melody or the, like in the samples I recorded for the sample pack, there's 2 in there, and they're called plastic stretching. And I have this giant bag of soil, and the intention with the soil was to pick it up and drop it on my floor and get this like, because it's just a big like 20-pound bag of soil. But when I picked it up, the sound of the soil pulling down on the plastic made it stretch in this like, this just like really interesting way. And because when I recorded the samples, I just hit record on my computer and walked around the room and just made sounds, and then I edited them after. When I was going through, I was like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that and throw that in there, because like especially in like bass music and like left field bass music and like I find that those textures in like certain electronic bass artist music is just like everything, like you create this tension through this like rubber, just like, just stretching, and like it's just tense because it's just like, kind of like a like a timer when you turn a timer, and it goes or like if you were to turn a socket wrench and start faster but then go slower, how there's like this tension in the clicks because it's going with the sound of like plastic stretching, or like rubber, like like a rubber band or something like that. There's this tension in that texture of that sound.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, cool track.
Definitely.
Okay, we've got Alfonso Mango. I actually hopped on the call with Emmanuel and Alfonso earlier. Really cool dude. This is an awesome track. His creative process is really interesting, actually. He like the gear he uses and how he uses it. I think he was saying he does all of his sequencing on his phone on FL Studio.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was just like, man, like, props, because I've tried, and I know I could, like, if I had no other means, I could totally, but like every time I've done that, I was just like, oh, I can't like work on such a small screen, and like just figuring out navigating audio into my phone is like not ideal. So serious props before even hitting play on the fact that he just does his sequencing on a phone. So cool. I'm gonna hit play on this track.
All right.
Hello. Enter the missing letter. M-A-N-G.
not sure why, but you're upside down now. I don't know if I don't know if it's like that for you, but you're upside down on my screen at least.
I think the track just flipped me.
My name is Leah Behar, and I love the sound of the whistling of the birds in the morning.
My name is Margaret Doherty. I like the sound of music, all kinds of music.
The sound of activity, of day's activity coming to a quiet end.
My name is Bill Sheetal. My favorite sound is music.
My name is Julia Twyman. I like the sound of church bells chiming.
My name is Jimmy Polizzi, and I like the sound of church bells.
My name is Sophie McConaughey. I love the sound of children playing and of music.
My name is Anna Rabinovich, and I like the poets. Just very, very much I like the poets.
My name is Alex Rothman, and my beautiful sound would be nice music.
Margaret Thomas. The sound I love is music.
My name is Victor Wright. One of my favorite songs is the voice of my father and mother.
My name is Mary Schmidt, and I think running water is the nicest sound that I know. A brook.
My favorite sound is the clinking, the feel of dollar bills. The bigger the denomination, the better the sound.
Man, that was a cool track.
Yeah, definitely made me feel good.
Yeah. It's so pleasant hearing positive music and hearing people just talk about their favorite sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one line in there though, and it sounded like, like my beautiful son is music. And I thought that's what I heard. Like obviously it was my favorite sound is music. But I had a good laugh like halfway through because I misunderstood. I just pictured this bed being like, my beautiful son is music. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really cool. I find this song's really tasteful. I feel like it's curated very well. The that build up and the drop and how it has that resolution in the drop. It's the song is not tense. It's very resolved and it feels good, and you can feel that in the resolve.
Yeah, it takes my mind to a track by Flying Lotus. Once I remember the name of the song, I will let you know. But it's
cool. Yeah,
it's definitely a big, beautiful song. I think it's called Flotus. Flotus. That's the name of the song it reminds me of. It's really
nice.
Good.
Yeah, I'll have to check that track out. I love Flying Lotus, man. Like Genius and Thundercat, honestly. Flying Lotus and Thundercat together and in general and separate, they're absolute virtuoso, artists, really pioneers.
Yeah, man.
All right, we've got Kuroma, Kuroma, with spaces between all the letters, and this track is called Rain.
Yo.
Oh. Beep, beep, beep. Sick.
That's nice.
Yeah. Lots and lots of little things in there that I really liked. That beep, beep, beep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes back to what I was saying about the that Sweet Valley song and that like zero drop where you bring it down to zero and you just like do something and you're like, yeah, or like, yo,
Yeah.
and then it drops back into the beat. I love those little decisions, you know, and that
Yeah.
like, whoa, that happens in this track too. It's like,
Yes.
you know, there's this artist in Montreal, this producer, drummer. He's really wicked at what he does. He goes by Vienna. It's this guy
Mhm.
Liam Mansfield, and I remember he posted a video about like how he produces his tracks or whatever, and the last layer he always does is texture. And
Mm.
I've been doing the same for a while, and I find that it's when you add not an instrument to your track, it's an instrument, but it's not there to deliver necessarily specifically a strong melodic or rhythmic statement, but it exists to paint a picture with more depth. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can have your instrumentation, but if there's some extra layer of texture on the on the track,
Yeah.
it gives it context and setting. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say like, yeah, this track it's very sonically pleasing to the ears. I don't know if it was like his voice right before he says, "Eh," it's like the breath. It was like a, and it was like kind of I don't know reversed and like looped, and it was really nice and just like the transition from the lows to the highs to the like you said the zero drops. Reminds me of like the Jay Dilla Mad Lib kind of like breaks. Like yo, like it's just
Yeah,
it's very very wavy.
yeah, 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 yeah. Definitely set a tone and wrote it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, we've got Centurus, Centurus, and the song is More Than 400 Thoughts. So I think we can anticipate a song without mindfulness, without meditation here. We're lost in the chaos of our minds, you know. We're 18 steps away from center.
Or complete irony.
Yeah, 18 steps away from Centurus. Anyway, I'm gonna hit play on this track. Let's do it. Yeah, dude, that's excellent. Love it. Back to the video game vibe.
Oh yeah.
Very earthbound.
was a whole cutscene, oh man.
Dude, yeah, no kidding. That was an interlude track for sure.
I love that.
Yeah. I really love how in the first half of the drum part, because this song like is objectively probably 60 to 70% uh, without drums, ambient, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first drum part, you've got that 1, 2, 3, and you have that like roll on that snare every second snare. And then I was listening when the drums came back, I was listening for it, but instead of having that snare roll on that second hit, there's an open hi-hat every time. You know, so I was like, you know, and I think I could be wrong, but I can see the session and I can see this producer, Centauris, I can see this artist being like, you know what, like I'm going to replace this with this, and that way it has the same kind of like context storyline, and at the same time through a different dimension. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like definitely. I heard like 3 different drum kits, and it's like each one was telling another part of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a very great composition, and yeah,
Lots of emotion in it too.
yeah. Somebody died.
Yeah.
Or somebody was getting, you know, or bring honor back to their homeland, and
yeah, I guess so.
and they failed for the last time.
Yeah, and it's over. You know, you're at the absolute heartbreak of the storyline before you know you start to pick yourself back up and become the protagonist you were always destined to be.
There it is, man. There it is.
Okay, this next track is by an artist called Samurai Chill, spelled exactly how it sounds, and the song is called Under the Space Sea. So Samurai Chill, I'm sorry, you've chosen the right words to set me up in such a way that I'm excited to hear your music. I hope you deliver to what I expect.
Oh yeah.
Switching up the sample chop style.
Yeah.
What does that sound even like? A pitter patter in water, you know, like there's a little puddle and someone's going.
It's a samurai running over water.
Yeah, just so fast, yeah. So light. That was sick. That was exactly what I anticipated, to be honest. Like, I mean, not exactly, but you know, like looking at the artwork for that track and listening to it and seeing, like I said, seeing the names even. You know, if you go by Samurai Chill and you name a track under the space C, you're making a statement. You know, there's already a statement in the words, you know, and definitely delivered. I feel like I was looking at because that song is on an album. I think it was called Space Dreams or something. Anyway, regardless, I was looking at the actual album there, and I feel like this is one of those songs that I would love to hear the context of everything that happened before and after it. You know, like I feel like this track could be like one of those like the track before could have been like really hard, and this is the track that comes after it. That's like almost like the like, all right, time to like chill out a little bit and like ride this like really like, you know, kind of slunky like groove.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it was cool, really cool track.
Yeah, I liked it. Like the sound choices. Surprised
Yeah.
me.
And the pitter patter on water that was acting as the like, you know, like
Yeah.
in the track. It was cool. All
Good
right.
track.
Next up, we got CM Junk, and the track is called "The Swan." So let it rip.
This is the orientation film for Station 3 on my initiative. The Swan. Every 108 minutes, a button must be pushed.
That was nice.
Yeah, man, that was really nice. I'm getting tired, and that song really made me feel especially exhausted. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you I'm not sure if you got
I
it with
was
the same
definitely
like
going there, man.
like it was so chill. I like that it almost has this like post rock feel, you know, and that
Oh yeah.
and the emotion, and but then you have this just like the way the kick and the snare sit in the mix of this track is so hollow and so just like and man, I love that. I just love the way it sits, you know. I feel like, you know, I mean, it's easy to just like well, it's easy to just like put a certain type of kick that's in your face, and like there's certain things you can do or certain samples that you can use that are easy, but I find it's making decisions like making the decision for that kick and that snare that take, I don't know, it feels like the less obvious route, and I like it. I like that decision.
Yeah, it
So,
definitely had a vibe that was, it just captured an emotion and a mood that you can ride from start to finish, man. Like that could be my like going to sleep music. Like it's
yeah.
very like relaxing and meditative.
Absolutely, yeah. Perfect for lo-fi in general. And honestly, it's getting late and we're on the last track, so like no better time to wind things down than like the second to last track to tie it off. So
Who made this playlist? Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, he knew as soon as we told him like, yeah, we're gonna record in the evening. He's like, I'll lullaby you guys to sleep.
What a sweet.
Oh yeah, what a sweetheart. Cool. So the last track up in here is Robert Wars, All Stuck Together. Robert Wars, and the track is called Low Life. So Robert Wars, see us off into this beautiful night. Once again, dying to hear some rap on this. Like this would be a cool one for Lakani to do something on, like with his style that he does, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the bubbler.
Yes.
The bubbles in a cup,
Perfectly frothed.
Yeah, word.
Forgive me, Father. I've sinned. I slept with a woman, and
Really? Was she naked?
Just stuck that right onto the end.
Oh my goodness, I was not ready for that.
Was that Beavis and Butthead?
That certainly was.
That was nice. That was great. Yeah, really cool track. Nice low end happening there. Nice kick. Nice everything. Again, this was so well curated, this playlist, for energetically. It starts off with a bang and it kind of rides up and down all the way, and it really tied off in a nice like chill way. So
yeah,
that was nice. Robert Wars, yeah. So that was our listening to and speaking about the Beyond Lo-Fi Episode 2 playlist. You can find it on Spotify if you look for it, Beyond Lo-Fi. There's a hyphen between low and fi. Keep a lookout. We're going to be back for more. Thank you so much to everybody who watches this for watching this with us. And you know what? Enjoy your day. Enjoy your evening. Keep it real. And once again, if you feel so inclined to reach out to us, you want to be featured in a playlist so we can talk about your music on a podcast, or if you're an artist and you want to just hang out and talk to other cool artists and collaborate, send us some music. Wherever you're finding this video, there's going to be a link down below to reach us. So hit us up, say hey. The world is crazy, and let's make the network a bit tighter. So
yeah.
Keep it real. All right.